happity hop. I was gonna say hoppity, but it's humpity. Happity humpity day. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. Hi, friends. Hi, guys. Hey, Donnie. Hey, Mary Lou. Hey, Sherry. Morgana Banana. Hi, guys. Good day to you. Hi, Gail. Good day to you too, friend. Yeah, Morgana, thank you. Please don't forget to smear your DNA all over that thumbs up button. Hi, guys. Have you heard about this or have you seen? I don't know what trial you guys have been watching, if you've been watching anything as of late. I know there's a couple different trials going on. The one is that preppy kid, college kid, or preppy whatever party trial. There's another one that started, this missing boyfriend one. And I started watching it, and oh my gosh. So I wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about it and see if you had seen this or been watching it. Apparently, Margaret has been because I mentioned it in the mod chat group and she said she had been watching it. So, you guys, it looks good. Hey, horse lover. You haven't heard of the missing boyfriend one? Go check it out on Law and Crime Trials. That's where you can watch it at. I don't know if anybody else is streaming it, but it looks really good. I hadn't heard about it, Gail, but we're going to watch a little bit of it, just a smidgen. I want to watch the prosecution's opening statement, and I also want to watch the body cam footage of, Donnie says technical difficulties over here. Oh no. But yeah, so anyway, I wanted to watch that. Husband is gone to get a haircut. He'll be home, I don't know, in a little bit. So we won't be on for very long. But, ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. And I must have told a lie or something because I got a lie bump on my tongue. Right there. And it hurts. I must have fibbed to somebody about something and I don't know what. I do not know. But hold on. So let me tell you real quick just a little like paragraph. It says Christopher Davis is on trial in Florida for the second-degree murder of his partner, Barry Schmalbach, who vanished without a trace in July of 2023. Davis faces charges of second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and fraudulent use of personal identification of a deceased individual. And then it says his trial date is scheduled for September 24th, but that's not right because apparently it started already a day or two ago. And let's see here. Let me share my screen. Why didn't I already do that? Oh my God, Donnie's got us on her pool TV. You're so pretty. I usually have you little on my phone. Aw, thank you. Oh my God, I can't believe you have a pool TV. Really? So fun. This is it. Share. Let me make it big and then I will add it to the stage. So this prosecution, I read in the comments, somebody said in the comments that she was pregnant with triplets and 8 months pregnant with triplets. I'm just going to say she don't look 8 months. She looks 8 months pregnant, but not with triplets. So if that's true, I do not know. But triplets? It's just a TV by the pool, not that exciting. It sounds fancy pantsy. But yeah, I mean, you can see her on the screen. Someone said in the comments on Law and Crime that she's 8 months pregnant with triplets. What? I mean, usually when you're 8 months pregnant with triplets, you're bigger than the whole courtroom. I mean, I would buy that there's one baby in that belly, maybe two, but three, I don't know. Not that that even matters, right? They were just saying kudos to her for, you know, I think they said something like kudos to the prosecution for trying this case while she's 8 months pregnant with triplets. Yeah, I know, Donnie, right? Definitely pregnant, but with three? I don't know. Maybe closer to 5 months. Well, I mean, if she does have triplets, I'm not buying that she's 8 months. Maybe 5 months. But I don't know. Usually, when you see a woman that's 8 months pregnant with triplets, she looks beyond ready to have those babies, right? So, anyway, this opening statement is only maybe 20, it says 25 minutes. So, but, and then someone else had mentioned, I saw someone had mentioned that they thought this judge was the same judge as in the Wade Wilson trial. I'm not sure because I didn't really watch that trial. I just seen bits and pieces of that. So if it is and somebody watched the Wade Wilson trial, you'll have to let me know if it's the same judge because that would be interesting. I have also heard no updates on Koberger since the last time we met a couple days ago over here on Crime Cafe. I don't know if the judge has yet made his decision in Koberger about delaying the trial again or not. If anybody has heard anything, please let me know. Any other updates? I have not heard any more updates on the kiddos in Canada. I mean, you hear bits and pieces, but I don't really want to come on here and chit chat about rumor mill stuff. You know what I mean? Like I want a good update. So, but anyway, let's start with this. And she comes out hot. When she goes to that podium to talk to the jury, she comes in hot. Right? So, anyway, here we go.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You may begin with your opening.
May it please the court?
Yes.
Opposing counsel?
Here she comes.
No! Whimpering. Those are the last noises that were heard from Barry Schmalbach's apartment on July 19th, 2023. An apartment that he shared with the defendant, Christopher Davis. What follows that slamming, the no, and whimpering, is the defendant doing a search on his cell phone for Walmart near me. Going to Walmart, and at Walmart, buying chocolate milk, not one, but 2 rolls of duct tape.
I mean, chocolate milk. You can't go to Walmart and not buy chocolate milk, right? I mean, even if you're buying things to cover up and hide a deceased individual, you have to buy chocolate milk. That's a given.
And a 12-foot by 24-foot heavy-duty tarp.
That's not suspicious at all.
Today you're going to hear about the victim, Barry Schmalbach, as well as the defendant.
You can't hear me, Mary Lou? How about now? Is that any better? Oh Lord, look where I freeze framed it. Look at her hair. She's in the process of flipping her hair around and her hair is like, whoo, it looks like a big horse mane. Can you hear me? Okay.
Christopher Davis. You're going to hear.
How about now?
that
Can you hear me over
Barry,
top
who
of
is known
her,
to friends,
okay? Or no?
Was loved. He was always in communication with them. He called them. He texted him.
More drama.
He was never not next to his phone. Quick responses. Even if he was in a different country, he still would get a hold of them.
Okay, good.
You'll hear that he was meticulous about keeping everything clean. His car, which he basically would say he lived out of mostly, as well as his house. He was not someone to be okay with items that were in disarray or being a mess. Barry was from Chicago and moved down to Florida in 2022. But he still kept friends in Chicago. He kept in communication with one of his best friends, Rosalie Malico. You'll hear that he had some medical issues, and because of the medical issues, he lost about 100 pounds. And he was walking daily. A walk that the defendant started joining him on when they met in May of 2023. They met at a Cinco de Mayo party, and within weeks, the defendant and the victim were living together. And members of the jury, within 2.5 months, the victim was gone.
Not a very long relationship, huh?
There's been no activity on the victim's accounts, his cell phone, his financial records, nothing, since July 19th, 2023. And the person that saw the victim last, the defendant, Christopher Davis. You will hear from a multitude of witnesses, one of them being Miguel Blanco. Miguel Blanco was one of Barry's closest friends here. You'll hear that they met working at Restaurant Depot, and they kept in communication for years, even moving down to Florida. You'll hear that Miguel actually had a key to Barry's condo due to the fact of Barry having the heart condition. You'll hear that Miguel had to tell the defendant to file a missing persons report, and that Miguel actually had to file one himself. And
Hey,
members of
Billy.
the jury,
Good to see
you're
you.
going to hear over and over again as the state brings you a
Hi,
multitude of photographs, videos, and other items and testimony from Miguel as well as other people that Barry is not in any of the photos. He is not in any of the videos. The person that is the defendant, Christopher Davis. You are going to hear that over and over and over and over again,
Happy
whether it be
Lola.
in Walmart, Target, Ace Hardware.
Yeah, this dude went everywhere. So, but hey, P. Lola, good to see you. She says she's got a watermelon in her belly. Yeah, she does. They're saying it's triplets and that she's 8 months pregnant, but I don't buy that. I mean, yeah, she's pregnant, but I don't know about 8 months or with triplets. I don't know. Anyway, we had a whole discussion about it at the very beginning of the stream.
Or disposing of evidence.
Good to see you, P. Lola.
That is what you are going to hear. Now, to explain the investigation, we have a
She ate
retired
too many
detective.
watermelon
His name is
seeds.
Bryce Spearman. He was with the Cape Coral Police Department until 2024. This is one of his last cases that he worked. And he is going to come today, as well as the rest of this week, and he is going to explain to you, day by day, by day, by day, the actions that the defendant took after he killed Barry. Now, members of the jury, you are not going to see Barry's body. You are not going to be hearing from a medical examiner in this case. We don't have a body. What we do have are the defendant's actions. The defendant buying duct tape, neighbors witnessing something heavy being moved. Sounds like a plastic tarp. The defendant buying air fresheners, renting an Airbnb, buying a pickaxe, buying a shovel, disclosing of those items, and giving a multitude of stories. Stories that all conflict. So if we begin with July 19th, you're going to hear from witnesses, such as Ruth, who's a neighbor. You're going to hear from a Lyft driver who took Barry and the defendant to a place called Cruisers. It's a bar in the Cape. You're going to hear that while at the bar at the Cape, he texted his friend Rosalie and said, "I'm at the bar with my BF, but I am so done with the BS. Please call me tomorrow. I miss you so much." Then you're going to hear a couple hours later, Rosalie got a text back. And it didn't make sense. It didn't sound like something Barry would send her. And you'll hear what that response was and how she knew it wasn't Barry that sent it. You're going to hear from a bartender as well as another patron who'll say that it looked like something was amiss between Barry as well as the defendant. They didn't leave at the same time. Barry paid and then left, and then Chris was in a different room, and then shortly there followed. And you'll actually see videos of the defendant and the victim walking back to the condo at 1835 Beach Parkway, Unit 303, a third-story condo complex with the top floor being where Barry lived. You'll also hear that during that walk back, Barry called Miguel Blanco, his friend. The last voicemail that we have from Barry is given to Miguel. Give me a call. I need your help. I gotta get rid of this fucking idiot. I can't take it anymore. That is what Barry told Miguel before the defendant, Christopher Davis, is heard slamming Barry against the wall. No, no, whimpering, and then silence. And members of the jury, you're going to hear that because Kim Zanzatani, who lives in the apartment underneath Barry and Chris, hears that. She hears the slamming. She hears the no, no, and she hears the whimpering, and then silence. Chirp, chirp, for Barry's Jeep being opened. You're going to see the actual video of the defendant walking into Walmart, buying the duct tape, buying the tarp. And what's interesting is he pays for cash in these items. Then you'll hear about July 20th, the next day. You'll hear that Detective Bierman will explain to you that Barry is not seen or heard from on the 20th at all. The last known message out is about 8:30 the day before, p.m. Nothing after that. No digital footprint, nothing. The only thing you see is the defendant driving Barry's Jeep, using Barry's credit cards, making up stories that conflict with one another. You'll hear that Barry had an eye watch that he wore all the time. You'll see the defendant in a lot of the videos and photographs wearing Barry's eye watch. You'll also see that the defendant does multiple searches for Airbnbs. And members of the jury, he lives in a condo in Cape Coral, and he's doing Airbnb searches in Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres, Cape Coral, Naples, North Fort Myers. And then you'll also hear that he did a search for a place called Ochapi, which is kind of in the Everglades, a very rural, marshy area. But ultimately, he finds a place in Clewiston. Clewiston, members of the jury, is in Glades County. You're going to hear that Clewiston is kind of like old Florida. There's briars, there's bushes, there's palm trees. It is overgrown, and there's not a lot out there, especially in the area where he ends up renting a place, Montura. Montura is acre and a half lots. Some of them have a house on them, most of them don't. When you walk through them, you get cut up. The briars get you, the sticks, whatever it may be. It is rural Florida. But before he does that, what you are going to hear is that on the 20th, he also calls Discover Credit Card Company, which is a company that Barry has a credit card from. You'll actually see a photo of the credit card. It's a Blackhawks NHL credit card, Barry being from Chicago. And he'll use that credit card at Starbucks, which was Barry and Chris's normal place to stop. And you'll hear from one of the employees say that when she asked where Barry was, Chris's response was, working. Then you'll see Chris go to Lowe's and buy a ham truck, which is a dolly basically, to move heavy items, fridges, boxes, whatever heavy items you have. Then he goes to Target. He uses the victim's Discover card again. Barry is still nowhere in sight, and he tries to withdraw money from an ATM. And then you'll end the day with a phone call from PNC Bank. It is one of the banking institutions that Barry uses. And members of the jury, listen carefully during that phone call. That phone call is not made by Barry, it's made by the defendant. Listen how, when the woman that is working for the bank asks him for his social security number, he waits. 11 seconds before he's able to give her his social security number.
Wow.
When asked what his mother's maiden name is, he gives the first name a couple times. Pauses, kind of makes small talk before giving the name again, as well as his phone number. You're going to hear from two different witnesses, Miguel as well as Kim, who are going to tell you, that's not Barry's voice, that's the defendant. That is the defendant's voice on that call. Nowhere in that call is Barry's voice. You're going to hear about July 21st, in the wee hours, about 4 a.m., from one of the other neighbors,
Wow.
who hears what sounds like something moving on a heavy tarp. You're going to hear that he looked outside, saw movement, saw somebody dragging something, and then he's going to say that it matched Christopher, the defendant, his gait, the way he acts, the way he moves. You're going to hear that light bulbs were unscrewed, and those light bulbs that turn the lights off, they matched Christopher's fingerprints.
Wow.
You're also going to hear about black tubs that the defendant was carrying back up to the condo. And these tubs are important because when we go to Montura's Airbnb, those tubs are also found. You're going to hear about the defendant then going to put gas in Barry's Jeep, buying air fresheners in Walmart, and then driving to an Airbnb
Hey,
in
Margaret.
Montura. Again, this is Clewiston. And he rents that Airbnb under the name Tyler Gamble. Not his name, under his.
Okay, I wondered about that because I was scrolling through some of the testimony earlier from the Airbnb owner, and it was showing text messages between them, and it said Tyler, and I was like, who's Tyler? Hey, Brenda. Hi for a minute, Margaret, said Gail. Oh, you're going to the dentist. Yeah, Cherie, this is a quick trial. This one, I think they said they expected to be 3 or 4 days. So it'll be quick. I don't understand why people... It doesn't matter where you go anymore. Even if you pay with cash, there's going to be evidence that you were there and you bought a tarp and that you bought a dolly and that you bought... You can't get away with it anymore. Not like you used to be able to, right? Unless you're like super smart and can figure it out, But for the most part, you're going to be seen. I'm just saying. What are you having done, Margaret, at the dentist? What are you having done, ma'am? All right, here we go. It's about halfway done, it looks like.
Somebody else's name. And you're going to notice and see that the GP is driving all the way to Montura is on what is known as LPRs, which are license plate readers.
Mm-hmm.
And the detective is going to explain to you that a license plate reader is going to take a picture of the license plate as well as the vehicle. And you'll see the vehicle is spotless on the outside. What you'll notice, though, is the next day, the vehicle now has dirt and mud all over it after being in Montura Ranches. Now that Airbnb, how I described Montura, it's just like that. Wooded, overgrown areas, needle in the haystack. That's where he rented an Airbnb. An hour and a half away from Cape Coral. Well, he gets to Clewiston, and he goes to Ace Hardware. He goes to a bank, gets money from an ATM using Barry's information again. When he goes to the Ace Hardware, he buys a pickaxe and a shovel. Then, his phone doesn't have any data usage for 3 hours. From approximately 12 p.m. until 3 p.m., there are no text messagings, phone calls, searches, nothing from the defendant after buying a pickaxe and a shovel. You're going to hear that when his phone stopped having communication with it, he was at the Airbnb. But 3 hours later, he's about 10 minutes away when it comes back on. 3 hours that are unaccounted for. The Airbnb host is actually going to testify that she saw clothing hanging off the banisters at the Airbnb, which she thought was weird because he only rented it for one night. That's not normal. But you'll hear a lot of not normal about that Airbnb. You're also going to hear that the defendant's cell phone goes quiet again from 6 p.m. on the 21st until 11 a.m. on the 22nd. There are searches, but there's not phone calls, and they're very few and far between, those searches. While Christopher is in Clewiston himself, Miguel and his partner Tom, they go and check on Barry because they've been calling, they haven't heard from him. They have a key to the house, so they go in. There's packages outside, they bring the packages in, and what do they see? The inside of Barry's condo is a mess. That's not how Barry would have kept it. And then you'll hear about the 22nd. The Airbnb host that rented a place to Tyler Gamble sees the defendant running and knows that this is the defendant because he's oversharing with her. He's telling her, oh, I'm going for a run, and then I'm going to check out, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And you are going to hear from her as she tells you what he told her. And that Tyler Gamble in the photo is not Tyler Gamble. It's the defendant, Christopher Davis. Now that Airbnb, she's going to tell you that when she went into it to clean it, because her and her mom own it together and they clean it before they rent it out to the next person, they notice things that don't make sense. There's a ton of debris inside. There's sand everywhere. There's areas that are matted down. Furniture has been moved around. Stuff that's not normal for her normal people to come visit for a night, especially somebody that's there by themselves. As the defendant is driving back to Cape Coral, Miguel will tell you that he urged the defendant to file a missing persons report and ended up filing a report himself.
Same, Donnie.
But what does the defendant do before filing a missing persons report? He goes to the Ace Hardware in Cape Coral. You'll see the video of the defendant doing this, driving Barry's Jeep right up to a dumpster, pulling out a pickaxe and a shovel and throwing them away.
Wow.
Within 24 hours of buying a pickaxe and a shovel, the defendant threw them away.
Yeah, those aren't things you just throw away, you know?
He then calls law enforcement, tells them Barry's missing, and he's kind of worried about him. You'll hear that actual 911, you hear the 911 call that he made, where he's oversharing and telling the dispatcher all sorts of information that seems like it's too much. It's weird. And then you'll also actually see the body-worn cam with the officer that talks to the defendant that day. You'll hear that later that night, Becky Weber, who's one of the neighbors, she'll testify that Chris was worried. He said things like, I'm worried, I think Barry is going to leave me and kick me out, and asked Becky to come help him look for Barry's phone. When she looks for Barry's phone, she goes into the apartment, condo I should say, and she sees a wallet. And it's Barry's wallet she sees. She knows it's Barry's wallet because, again, Barry is very meticulous. He has everything in a certain spot in his wallet. Every card is a certain way. The way
Right.
he is everything is perfect. Now, after the 22nd, when the defendant is finally reported missing, when the victim is finally reported missing by the defendant had called him a few times since then, off and on. But after he's reported missing, there's not a single phone call that the defendant makes to Barry's phone. Then you'll hear about July 23rd, where the defendant starts looking up history on the web for how to reset a Century Safe code. How to find
Somebody keeps snotting and snorting, and I don't know who it is, but they need to turn their microphone off. It's driving me crazy.
the Century Safe factory code and reset the combo. Searches where to buy that exact same safe. This is a safe that Barry had in his condo. The exact same safe in his condo is what the defendant is looking to buy and looking to crack open. Now, the fingerprints of the defendant are actually found when law enforcement goes on the back panel of the safe that Barry has. The only way that you're going to hear to do that is to actually take off the front of the code key panel. And that's what the defendant did. You're going to watch a video of the defendant pushing a safe out of Home Depot. He's also going to be having a swing bar guard lock, which is, when you go to a hotel, you have those locks that kind of go over and clasp, so if somebody tries to come in, it'll block them. You're also going to hear that he bought
gross.
basically a new lock for a door. Well, if Barry's missing, wouldn't Barry need to get back into the condo? After he buys this, he buys it with the Discover card of Barry's, not his own. And he calls the number for Century Safe. You'll hear back on the 24th that the defendant goes to Starbucks. And while at Starbucks, he talks to Cindy Thomas again. But this time, Barry's missing and it must be a hate crime. He's only been missing for a day or two. Well, we're on the 24th. A day or two is when he filed the missing persons report. But again, nobody has heard or seen from Barry since the 19th. You're going to hear that after he goes to Starbucks, the defendant calls a place called
Who, me?
Anna Teresa Aesthetic Medicine. And
You thought it was me?
He makes an appointment to get fillers in his face. He gets Sculptra, which builds over time, which is a type of filler, as well as a filler for his lips. Now, what's interesting about that is that on middle of May, he makes his initial consult with them. He puts his address as the address with Barry, as well as he does not put Barry's name on his emergency contact, but he puts the address. But 2 days after he reports his boyfriend missing, he makes an appointment for cosmetic fillers. And guess how he pays for those fillers? With Barry's credit card.
I love you so much.
Over $1,400 in fillers. You're also going to hear that the detectives do a search warrant. They do a search warrant on the defendant's phone, they do a search warrant on the house, they do the search warrant on the defendant, they do a search warrant on anything. And what do they find? Well, what they don't find is a body, but they do find that he has scratches all over his body in the stages of healing. Kind of similar to if you're walking around the woods in Montura.
Right.
You're also going to hear that when they ask him about the scratches, he says, I was trying to put a harness on my cat. That's where the scratches are from. You're going to see pictures of the Jeep with cleaning supplies in it. Air fresheners. Air fresheners he bought a couple days before at Walmart. You'll see the video of that too. You're also going to see and hear from friends and family, such as Barry's close friend, Leo Gianchetti, who also is the victim's power of attorney, and will tell you the last time Barry used his card was when Chris was using it. And Barry's not one to give a credit card out. Barry would sometimes give cash, but never a credit card. And you'll hear that over and over again from all of his friends and family. You're going to hear the detective state that he spoke to the defendant, and the defendant said when he got home from Cruisers, he went straight to sleep, and when he woke up at 4 a.m., Barry was gone. Well, that's weird because we see him multiple times. We see him on a video in Walmart. We see him making or hear him making phone calls. You're going to hear multiple discrepancies in the defendant's story of what happened to Barry. You're also going to hear that on July 28th, Barry's wallet was found. The same wallet Kim saw when she went to go help the defendant a few days earlier. And where it's found is a storm drain. A storm drain that is on the walking path for Barry and Chris. It has a bunch of Barry's credit cards in it, but not all of them. Because most of the other credit cards, when they did a search warrant of Chris in the condo, Those credit cards were in Chris's wallet. Barry Schmalbach, Barry Schmalbach, Barry Schmalbach, over and over again. Not a single credit card in that wallet had Chris's name on it. They were all Barry's. Also inside that wallet was his identification card, Barry's. Inside that safe is his passport. Barry didn't leave, members of the jury. And that's what the state will prove to you today. You're not going to hear from a medical examiner. You're not going to hear see a body, excuse me. What you are going to see and hear is the defendant buying duct tape, a tarp, air fresheners, pickaxe and shovels, renting an Airbnb in a rural, remote area, and the defendant's own conflicting statements. Using the victim's credit cards for his own will, as well as all the actions he took up until the point that the search warrants were served. At the end of the trial, the state will come back to you and ask for the only just verdict in this case, a verdict of guilt for the crimes of second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and 8 counts of fraudulent use or possession of personal identifying information of a deceased person. Thank you.
All right. So, right, Brenda? Barry Schmalbach. Barry Schmalbach. Barry, I can't, how do you even say his last name? What is it? Schmalbach. Something like that. Then we have, the body-worn camera from the police officer that shows up on the scene after Chris makes the 911 call. So, that is what we're going to watch next. I'm going to fast forward it. You see him walk up, because this apartment complex or condo has 3 levels, and they live on the very top level. And it's pretty cool because when you get up to when he gets up to the top floor, you see the door says penthouse on it. He walks up all the stairs. Right, Gail. It is a lot of circumstantial evidence, but silly kitty.
Yeah, how you doing, Officer Lilly?
Hi, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Good, please come in.
Yep. So what's going on?
So my boyfriend Barry, he hasn't been home in a few days. He told me he was going with friends. His friends called me today, said that they haven't heard from him. Now I'm calling. I'm beginning to get in the middle stages of worried.
Okay.
He did leave his Apple Watch here. I just turned it on. And apparently he was having an Italian dinner with someone last night, and I think that things might be taking like a different kind of shape, but he is not responding to me or his friends.
So I saw in the notes, it said that he needed some space.
Some space,
Is that
yes,
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have like an open relationship, and he's been talking to guys on Grindr and like doing that kind of thing, and so that's what that's what I took the space to mean, and it's because he goes out of town all the time. And if you want to look at my phone, I can show you. He's done this 3 or 4 times, where he's here.
Well, has he said anything that would alarm you, like he wants to harm himself?
No, he hasn't told me he wants to harm himself.
He just said he needed some space.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you got a great view up here. Holy cow.
Beautiful.
Is there anything that he sent you?
No, here.
What, Donnie?
This is me texting him. Please excuse some of the rude things that I said.
That's fine.
But this is what he said. And then if you look here, if you want to go back, you can see where, like, he's ghosted me before.
What day was this
For
on?
days. This one right here?
Yeah, what is all that? Is that from yesterday?
No. This is from another time. This is from about 3 weeks ago,
Okay.
where he did this same thing, which is why I didn't initially, like, freak out. But, like, it's happening more and more frequently, and I don't know if he's got, like, maybe he's got, like, a drug problem, or, like you said,
Do you have any indication of any drugs?
No, and he said, I have no
yeah.
secrets, but like I said, he goes and leaves, like, he does business from home. I don't
Okay. Okay.
And so he leaves and goes. He was just in Wisconsin for 2 weeks. He was in Los Angeles San Diego for 2 weeks. He was just in Chicago before that.
Okay. Okay. So when is the last time that
But if you look and see, this is what I'm saying, it's like, this has happened.
is this all you?
Yeah, this is all me.
Okay, he's not
But this is-
responding back.
Yeah, so that was on July 5th.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying, is like, this happens all the time.
So, Donnie, he's basically trying to tell the cop that it's not uncommon for Barry to ghost him and be gone for days at a time or whatever. And so now it's happened 3 or 4 times where he's like, oh, I just need time away and I'm going to go stay with some friends and blah, blah, blah. And now this time, you know, he can't, you know, understand why, and now he's worried. Gail says, why do these people always text people after they off them? I know. They do that. Like, we've said this before, right? The other day we said this. They do it. It's like with that trial that we just finished the other day. Oh, I can't remember his name. Donnie. I think he had got rid of the body and now he's like, okay, now I'm going to call 911 because it's inevitable. People are going to start asking. And I think he's just like, do I call 911 and act like I'm worried and don't know where he's at? Because the place where he rented the Airbnb is an hour and a half away, right? So, I mean, the remains could be anywhere between where he is and an hour and a half away. So, I think that by calling 911, he's just, you know, probably, because he's probably had too many of Barry's friends messaging him being like, Maxwell Anderson, thank you, Gail. I couldn't remember his name. Maxwell Anderson. Same thing. You know, he texts the girl like the next day, like, hey, checking in, how's work going? You know, it's gross.
And so, I don't know what to do, but I wanted to go ahead and file a report because his friends are now saying that, like, I need to, because he's not responding to them. And
Friends, the ones that went to Italian dinner or anything like that.
no, not the Italian dinner. The Italian dinner, I turned on his fucking Apple Watch. Here, I'll show you.
I mean,
He just said too, and I didn't catch this the first time I watched it, Donnie. He said, and now his friends are like wanting me to file a report because now they're messaging him and he's not replying. So there you go. He was probably pushed into the corner to have to call.
do you have something that tracks him like 360 or something like that?
So the tracking goes to this, and that's why he left his fucking watch here. This is the later life.
So you couldn't,
So I couldn't fucking track it because I follow his watch, you know.
okay.
But I went into it, and so this is what I found. Everybody's messaging him, where are you, where are you, where are you, and then this came up.
Let's say.
And this was on, I'm sorry. And this was yesterday.
Yesterday. How did you feel about the Italian dinner yesterday? I thought we
some messages coming in?
And that's yesterday at 5 p.m. And he does have his cell phone with him?
Yes. He would have to.
Okay. And there was nothing with any type of harming himself or nothing like that? There's
No. Like I said,
no drugs?
no drugs that I know of.
Any medical conditions?
He has made mention, that he may or may not have partaken in cocaine, that kind of thing. Like to party, it's like poppers.
Recreational? He's not in trouble for anything.
But yeah, so I was on my way to Walmart today, and his friend called and was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, nothing, on my way to Walmart. He was like, where's Barry? And I was like, I thought Barry was with you. Because that's what he meant, because that's what I thought he said when he said he was going to go stay with friends.
Right. You said he does go out of town?
He does go out of town, yeah.
All right. Is his vehicle here? Did he take his vehicle?
No, he didn't take his vehicle, but he never takes his vehicle.
Does he do like an Uber or something like that? Does
Yes,
he go to the airport?
yes. Every time he goes to the airport, every single time, he never takes the car out of town. Because he leaves it here so that
Right. Okay. All right. Well, this is what we got, okay? Like I said, if he doesn't want to harm himself and he says he needs space and all that other, I can document what you have, him not being there for a while. But under the circumstances, I can't do a missing persons report. Because
Oh
there's
my
nothing
goodness,
that
Brenda.
shows that he's in danger. He hasn't said anything.
And what if he's not here
suicide.
next week? I was like, what if he's not here tomorrow?
You can call us again, but like I said, under the circumstances, there's nothing I can do for a missing person because it doesn't meet the criteria of anything endangered or anybody that wants to harm himself.
Okay.
So under the circumstances, I'm just kind of hoping that maybe he is staying away from his space. Maybe he doesn't want anybody to talk to right now. Maybe he's going out on his own, doing something. He'll eventually come back. All this stuff is still in his apartment. His vehicle's here. His iPhone watch is here.
Yes, I mean, he took some clothes on. If you look,
Okay.
there's some clothes that are gone and stuff.
So I mean, technically,
But he knows that I track him. That's one of the freaking arguments that we got into. Is because I turned
And it could be.
find my iWatch on his phone because I thought it was chill.
and it
So
could
he
be.
left it here to be an asshole.
It could be. I mean, like I said, I don't know what you all do and what type of relationship you got or anything like that, but it seems like he needed some space. He wanted to head out. He maybe didn't want to talk to anybody around here for a while. And obviously, from the looks of it, he should be back. He left all his stuff. Okay? Yep. But like I said, I can document it that I did talk to you. Do you have a driver's license?
I do have to find it.
Okay. Like I said, I'm going to leave a nice small little report saying what I came up with. I talked to you. This is what the deal is. He needs some space. He doesn't meet the criteria for harming himself. Doesn't have any medical issues. We're just hoping that he does come back.
Okay.
And you can call us
Just in
later.
case he's in trouble, would it be okay to just wait like a day or two and then actually just like do all of this? Because I don't want to file anything and then he shows up.
You could, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right now, there's nothing that would investigate a missing person right now because he doesn't meet any criteria for it. So,
Okay, well then I will just, if he's not here by Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll just call you guys back.
and you guys can do that again. You can
He
call
said
again,
something
say
about that,
maybe
too.
Something else you found out. Until then, you got an ID. That way, somebody get your information down.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, you got a view. You don't notice this stuff from the road.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, it's a beautiful view here.
Downstairs in the car.
Gail, the prosecutor mentioned in the very beginning during her opening statement that he did have some kind of medical issue and he lost 100 pounds. But she didn't say what that issue was. So, I don't know.
That's okay. We'll just go with name and date of birth. Is it a Florida deal?
It's Alaska. I'm from Alaska.
Really? From Alaska? Wow, what part?
Homer, Alaska.
Yeah, I've heard of Homer, yep. That's, is that the one all the way out west? It is. So you got to see all Mount, what do you call it?
No, so it's not out west, I'm sorry. It's on the tip of the Kenai Peninsula. It's like where the boats from the desert catching everything.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, because I knew I saw Homer somewhere. What's your first name?
Christopher? David?
You go by Chris or Christopher?
Christopher.
Christopher, what's your middle initial?
G.
And date of birth?
6989.
And town of Alaska, you said?
Yes.
Okay, just give me a minute. Like I said, I'm just going to go put it in there that way so that actually goes in the what I'm going to write. 1101 Cape Denver for the public. Always wanted to go to Alaska. Definitely want to check worry about. Like I said, whatever you guys have, if you wanted a space, you wanted a space. We're gonna leave it at that right now, but I will take notes. I'll put down what happened, okay?
Thank you.
Yep. 11, okay? 129 P by name, Denver. First name's gonna be Christopher, common spelling, middle initial G as in golf, last name is Davis, Delta, Alpha, Victor, India, Sierra, white male, date of birth is 6/9/89, it's gonna be out of Alaska. Okay. Smells good in here. How long y'all been together?
Almost 4 months now.
4 months?
Not too long.
In the beginning, did he do any of this, or is it?
I've just moved in not long ago. Yeah, it's always been like, I mean, to put it into like some perspective, he's left town, like every other week. So he's been together.
Is it business related, or is it just?
Related, I guess.
What's he do for a living?
We're friends. He owns his own business, Schmalbach packaging group. It's like a small business. He
Okay.
sells food packaging.
Kind of like, what do you call it, air sucked out of it? Vacuum bags, that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Oh, no. So he sells food containers. He sells stuff like that.
Oh, containers for
Sells
food.
containers.
Gotcha, okay.
I'm sorry, I'm upset.
That's okay, I totally understand, you got every right to be, hopefully, like I said, hopefully he's okay. He probably wants a space, and, hopefully you can get a hold of him, like I said. Is there anybody that you know of that he will answer, any family members or anything like
Everybody's,
that?
I don't know his family.
No,
I was just telling his friend that his friend was like.
okay, not his mom or his dad or anybody?
I was supposed to go meet his mom and his dad are dead.
Ooh,
He
sorry.
has no family outside of that.
So there's nobody,
He
okay.
has a friend, his best friend's name is Jennifer. She lives in Chicago, but I don't have her information.
You don't, does anybody that you can get a hold of?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna say the best bet is try to get a hold of somebody that could at least confirm that, hey man, I'm in Chicago, I'm in, you know.
Well, his friend Miguel said he was gonna reach out to some people,
Okay,
because he knows, him and Miguel have been friends for years. And we met at a party at Miguel's house, actually.
okay. You can try him.
I haven't talked to him. He also
Okay.
said he was gonna go talk to the police too.
And just something to, you know, reassure you that, hey, I'm okay. You know, I'm in such and such, I will be back next week, I will be back tomorrow, you know, something like that, just to assure he's okay, you know. That would be the best bet, just try to get a hold of somebody that would actually know, you know, that he would confirm, hey man, I'm okay, you know, I'm coming back in the area, I wanted my space, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, you know, maybe it's a business trip, you know, whatever it is, you know. 1101. You out of Florida?
No, Alaska.
It is Alaska?
Yes.
Last name is Davis?
Yes.
Okay, it's not coming back. Middle initial G? 26, thank you, I'll be back in one. Did you change the name or anything like that?
No.
No.
Nothing. But it has happened before, with Alaska, so I mean, it's not uncommon.
It has not come back before?
Because I was in when I was in Austin, Texas, visiting Austin, Texas, I was on an electrical bike and I got hit by a car and messed up my back. And they also at the same time said the same thing. But I don't know.
Really? I mean, it is a popular name. I mean, Davis is popular, but... Well, anyways, like I said, Christopher, give it a little bit of time. Like I said, he needed space.
I'm gonna call back on
Sorry.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Show up.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, you can do that, because it's gonna show a little, I'm gonna put a little, report in there with a couple paragraphs stating what you told me, what the situation is. Sometimes he leaves, and I'm just gonna put in there at the time he, you know, he doesn't wanna harm himself, you know, stuff like that.
He definitely does not want to harm himself.
Okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So other than that, like I said, call us again if you need us. I hope he calls back, all right?
All right.
So, all right? Have a good day. You're welcome, anytime.
we just got done watching your body-worn camera of your interaction with Mr. Davis.
Okay, so this has just a few more minutes left on it, and the police officer on the stand is the one that was there, the one that had the body worn camera. So I can't remember. I think I watched this part, but I don't remember if there was anything interesting about it, but we'll watch it.
Were you ever able to confirm his date of birth on that particular date?
I was not.
Now, the policy with regards to filing a missing persons report with Cape Coral Police Department, were you able to follow and find a missing persons report for Mr. Schmalbach?
Under the circumstances, there was no reasonable concern for safety. He wasn't endangered, didn't have any type of mental capacity issues, and he wasn't a juvenile. So under the circumstances, he stated several times that this happens all the time. In the 4 months they've been going out, he stated several times that he sometimes does this, he wants his space. He's out with friends, he's with safe people, and at the time there was no reason for concern. So he even said himself, sometimes he travels to Chicago, sometimes he gets on a plane and goes somewhere without him, and then he comes back. So he's always stated that he comes back. So for the reason him coming back, I just said give it a couple days. There's no, like I said, no reasonable concern for safety, so let's just let it play out. He'll come back, he's got a cell phone.
Now, you relied on Mr. Davis's comments to you in order to make that decision, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you intend to follow through and pursue a missing persons report and actually investigate it further?
At the time, I did not. I kind of figured he'd call back.
Okay. So you were just tasked with merely taking the report from Mr. Davis at that time?
That's correct.
And the sole information that was provided to you at that time was just from Mr. Davis?
Hey,
Correct.
Patricia.
You hadn't heard from anyone by the name of Miguel Blanco?
I have not.
You hadn't heard from anyone by the name of Tom Wilson?
Probably not, Gail.
You hadn't heard from anyone by the name of Jennifer Monaco?
No,
You hadn't heard from anyone by the name of Leon Giacchetti?
I have not.
You hadn't heard from anyone by the name of Rosalie Felico?
No,
You also hadn't heard from a lady by the name of Christine Gleason?
no,
You hadn't heard from anyone by the name of Sean Rippentrop?
I have not.
You hadn't spoken to Miss Becky Weber?
No,
You hadn't spoken with Miss Kimberly Zanzaltani?
no,
You didn't speak with anyone by the name of Brian Job?
no,
None of those individuals?
none.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right.
After you left the condo, did you try to ascertain numbers of friends and family and try to call anybody?
I did not. Like I said, under the circumstances, there was no reasonable concern for safety, so I figured that he's probably going to come back, like you said.
I just asked, you were asked like multiple names, did you talk to these people, but you never sought to talk to anybody?
I did not.
Okay, thank you.
No questions.
All right, sir, you can step down.
All right.
You may be excused, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No.
And he's released from his subpoena.
Yes,
May
sir.
call your next witness?
Judge State would call Miss Brandy Weber.
All right. So that was that. That was that. And I'm going to be keeping my eyes on this one. This one looks very interesting. And like Gail, I think it was Gail that said, sir, or I can't remember if it was Gail. I think it was that said that about so much everything's like circumstantial. That's all it is circumstantial. I don't know that they have any blood. I can't remember if she said in the prosecution's opening statement if she said that there was any blood evidence found. Okay, it was Gail. Or not, but I mean, he was like buying air freshener, and you know, you have the tarp and the pickaxe and I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I want to listen to the defense's opening statement too, to see what they say. The only thing I heard was that the defense had said there was no way in the world that Christopher Davis would ever hurt his boyfriend. I mean, but of course every defense attorney is going to say that, right? Very suspicious. Very suspicious. So, this is going to be a shorter trial, so I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on it and see. I will say that I do struggle with the fact that there is no body. But there's been several trials where the defendant was found guilty of murder and there was no body. Zachariah Anderson being one of those. And then there was that other case. I can't remember the name. It was a younger guy that had killed someone and there was no body. But then I feel like they found that person's body not long after the trial was over. Does anybody remember that? It was at some college. But I can't remember what the college was, or I feel like it was it Ole Miss? It was Ole Miss. That's it. It was an Ole Miss, because that's what they dubbed the trial as, is the Ole Miss murder trial. Remember that? We ended up not finishing that one because I feel like the audio was so bad we couldn't hear anything. It was really, really bad. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and scooch on out of here. I might try to pop back in tomorrow for a little bit. I'm not sure. It depends on kiddo. For sure on Friday. I will for sure be on Friday for a while. So, you remember that, Gail? Yeah. It's hard to, I mean, the jury has to be like, oh, how can we find this person guilty when there's no body? But they do it. They do it all the time. So, thank you, Gail. Thank you, honey. I hope everybody has a great night. Yeah, it is Wednesday. I think tonight is breakfast for dinner night. But we might be having leftover White Castles. We had White Castles yesterday for dinner. Oh my God. I had more than I should have. But those are like, they're so good. But I can't stand to smell my husband after he eats them. I'm sure he could say the same thing about me. Because, White Castles and gas. Right? I love you guys, and I will may see you tomorrow. For sure we'll see you on Friday. But make sure to hit that thumbs up before you leave. I would appreciate it. And if you have fallen over here into our neck of the woods and, you haven't yet subscribed, I would love to invite you to subscribe and click that notification bell. And if you're watching on the replay, put a hashtag replay in the comments. And I would appreciate it ever so much. Right, Morgana? Oh, it's those onions, man. They'll get you every time. All right. I love you, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.